So Xayah is exactly like that pick, and it does show that Garvey does have some answers to the meta going on.
And another global chucked in for the sake of globals. You have got the Shen almost certainly going up into the top side. Of course, River Shen was gaining some popularity just before Worlds came in. You know, Spica and a couple of E-Masters junglers as well, picking that one up. But overall, this lineup is kind of terrifying if you're on the side of LGD looking at Team WE. There's just so much just piling in on top of you. Like you said, the big power combo setup that you have is just insane. Whereas LGD, they're looking, from what I can tell, very much for that kind of perfect flank from Colt on the Renekton, trying to catch someone out maybe with a Scatter of the Week.
Can't really go to a side lane. She gets picked off instantly. We have seen a little bit more success on the Kespa side of things, where Showmaker has been playing a very dangerous Syndra, but the way you have to play this is not really through her...
Xayah rather than the Ezreal coming into this matchup.
Well, I think that given their entire team composition, they really want to play more for the early game. They don't want to be stuck in team fights later on. They want to have an explosive first step. So the Ezreal really gets pushed in lane. It's not a great matchup, even going up against the Xayah, who doesn't have the best laning phase herself. On the Xayah, you have a lot more early game playmaking potential. You actually have the lane priority in this lane, and I think that's really important when you're trying to play, you know, try to spike pre-15 minutes, trying to find early kills, and all the things like that. So I actually do favor the Xayah over the Ezreal in terms of this composition.
All right, put me in my box about drafts. Of course, you are the draft king, draft god, if you will. I am just
I wouldn't go that far.
I am but a lowly play-by-play caster, and I bow to your superior knowledge. As we see Missing, just needs to be a little careful there as he just kind of fucks himself forward. But the rest of Team WE walking in, making sure the rest of his team are fine. Nobody blows any summoners, no harm, no foul. Everyone backs away, and all is right as rain.
I really like this direct walk-in from WE. This is pretty much calling out LGD on how passive they're going to be on their level 1s. Usually, if you're fighting LPL opponents, you're not going to walk in alone as Jiumeng in that position directly into the brush like that. There could be a 5-man stack there, but it seems like W are calling out that, hey, LGD is not going to go for that aggressive or a cheese opening, and they do find good advantages out of that. They should be able to spot exactly where Flora is going to start, and they're going to have good timers on where he's going to be on the map.
Both junglers starting on their red buffs respectively. Beishang just doing it solo, as is Flora. So again, curious to see how this kind of works out for either of these teams. I want to see Flora make a little bit of an advantage now out of it for himself with this Graves. Definitely would be considered a much harder farmer and definitely an easier kind of gank potential with that kind of gap closers. Level 2 has been hit by Breathe. Colt needs to be so careful when going in for those trades, especially when he loses the level advantage.
Yeah, that was a beautiful trade coming in from Breathe. He gets all 3 hits of the key burst on down to his target, so a lot of max HP health damage being done right there. And this is not entirely usual. Usually we do see the Renekton get a little bit of advantage in terms of the early game. He has easier harass through the minion wave and such. But Breathe is just showing himself up to be the superior player in that trade. And that's going to have a lot of effects going down onto the map right here. This Renekton is going to be forced in quite early and not going to be able to exert a lot of pressure.
And you talk about that a lot, and I want you to explain it to me in this early game, as we don't really see kind of any immediate action as such. But you talk about pressure. What does that entail? Where do you generally see it, and how do teams kind of utilize it in a perfect world?
So what I meant by that is, like, losing an early trade that heavily, it's almost a 200 HP trade in favor of Breathe. It's going to make ganking top a lot harder. And you have to see where Flora started. Everyone knows that Flora started on the red side. He's going to path towards the top side. And if you lose early trades like that, it just means that going for a top gank is going to be that much more risky. Because you know the enemy has your pathing. You're ganking into the lane that's down HP. And that just means that it changes the calculations, whereas you might have seen Flora just walks directly up top if that trade didn't happen, and you know, put a lot more pressure back onto Breathe in that case. So that's kind of what I mean. It's a lot of factors. It's a lot about knowledge and information both sides have. And small trades like this do impact the decision making coming in from the jungler, where they're going to invest their resources and how they're going to play out the early game.
I love a skill matchup. You can see Breeze just using the Spirit's Refuge to stop the stun from going down. It puts more pressure, as you said, onto Cult. I love stuff like that. I love seeing, you know, kind of if I press my skill this point and you're pressing your skill at that point, I win. If not, I lose. I love seeing trade-offs like that. And overall, it has been pretty much all Breeze all the time. Does land more and more harass. And with that cannon minion actually pushing in, this could be a pretty bad position for the wave to be pushing in on top of the Shen. I feel like Colt's going to have to be TPing back into lane and getting that wave sorted out for his team, because it is not a good position as Flora down by this bot side trying to see if he can catch out anybody from the side of Team WE, but there's just nothing going for him.
Yeah, and this is an awkward situation for Colt. His lane is starting to push back in. That's putting himself into potential gank range incoming from beishang. So there's not going to be much that I think Flora is going to look for in terms of the top side. And he has to find it somewhere else, because we did talk about these compositions. The way that we have seen the Syndra type of comp play out is you do have to bully out the Galio early, which is exactly what he's doing. And you do have to convert those into early kills.
Nice happy feet there, though, from Shanks. Does keep him alive. Barely. Has already used his teleport, so not really in a position to continually keep this lane in his favor. That was just on the edge. Colt, unfortunately, playing that a little bit too early. Does not get the stun or the extra harass down on top of Breathe. The wave, like you said, pushing in into the Team WE top laner, but now level 6 has been hit, and Flora is around with the Syndra. You gotta be a bit careful now if you're on Breed's Shen. He can't really be too greedy for this, especially if he doesn't know where anybody else is.
This is really important. Galio has not... Oh, had just ticked 6, but I'm not sure if he's in range or not. He is heading up top there.
He is now.
Right as we speak.
Yep, and that was immediately. They had a ward down. They saw Shanks roaming up towards that top side. They have to back away, because that could turn into 3 very quick kills going over to Team WE. But because you now have information that everybody is on the top side for LGD, you have free reign over this Ocean Drake, and that is going to be a free Drake at the start going over to Team WE, and they still haven't really made anything happen here on the top side on LGD.
Oh, what a beautiful trade by Breathe. Breathe is basically winning every single trade against this Renekton in the top side. In what is not really considered a favorable matchup for the Shen. You know, Renekton is a sort of a lane bully that can trade against you quite easily. He has a lot more sustain than the Shen. So seeing the Shen just outplay the Renekton to this degree is really impressive incoming from Breathe. And I just want to point out that there was a lot of details that were happening right there. With the early trade from Limpid, he actually hit 6 before Shanks and was looking to make a 3v2 dive in the top side. Instant reaction from Missing. He heads up top there, top lane 2. They make sure that Breathe can actually pick up the big minion wave pushing in. They make sure that he's not going to get 3v2 dove right there. And WE has just been, you know, taking apart whatever punches that LGD throws at him. Yeah,
honestly, Team WE, again, like similar to last game, having all the answers to all this, you know, kind of questions as such. I am loving the scatter the weeks that are just stopping Shanks from engaging. They're very, very nicely set up, very, very highly mechanical, as we can see the Leona jumping straight now on top of Peace. They will knock him back, but the Shen is there. They're going to try and just use him as a Shen delivery system. The cleanse has been used. Peace, though, will fall down at his first blood. The feathers fly. They're tanking up the turret. Garvey, though, flashing underneath his own turret. Ooh. Nicely done, though, from Garvey. He will end up going down, but very well played there from the stand-in AD carry.
Great find on the ultimate, gets the stun down onto Jiumeng, and the tower finishes off the job. Very well played right there. From a pretty terrible situation, but still well done there. W overall is going to find some continuation on this play with beishang coming in.
Ooh, Shanks didn't think like he had to flash, and then realized he didn't really have mana or a health bar coming in. And this is LGD now, because of Garvey, because of him able to kind of stay alive for so damn long, burn off so many summoners, they're now gaining advantages a lot around the other sides of the map because Team WE put so much into that bot side.
Yeah, they're going to find some sizable CS advantages coming in from the Renekton on the top side. Of course, the Shen did not have the teleport to go back there. And let's just watch this play again, specifically targeting Garvey. He uses his cleanse early, and Breathe held on to the taunt just to wait until the cleanse was over. Jiumeng takes up tower aggro right there, and unfortunately has to fall down there.
Yeah, now looks like Team WE, they've had enough of Garvey playing AD carry with no summoners available, no ult either. The solar flare goes down. Beishang picks himself up that kill. Missing is tanking up as much as possible. Jiumeng picks up the second. Team WE return to the scene of the crime to pick up some more spoils of war.
And this is what we see in today's meta so often. You burn the summoners in your first rotation, and it's pretty much free game for the rest of your combo pieces to go in there. Huge swing into the bottom lane. Even though Jiumeng, you know, he basically got his ankles broken by Garvey in the previous play. He's gonna pick up these minion waves. He's gonna be much further ahead on this patch, and it looks like LGD is looking to try and trade back onto the top side, maybe get Cult fed enough where he can become a split pusher, but they don't find the tower. A lot of pings coming out onto the bottom side, so they definitely know where beishang is, and I am not hearing my co-caster at the moment, so I'm just going to continue with the cast. Limpid does fall down as beishang comes in, swoops in for another kill, coming off the priority of the bot lane right here. They didn't really see Missing coming in, and only pinging him out now at this point. Hey, Penguin, you still there? Just checking. All right, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We do have some technical difficulties, so it's going to be me solo cast for a while right here. We're seeing Garvey able to get the Blade Storm off, but is he able to survive? Wow, the shield comes in, but unfortunately, the Leona still falls down. It's a 1-for-1 trade, and very well played by Garvey in that instance. Again, we also saw the ultimate burn by the Shen. Stand United not able to teleport down here. And Shanks trying to come in, but gets picked off by the incoming members of LGD. So a massive win coming in from LGD. They trade 2-for-1 and also get the ultimate in the top lane right here. Explosive action and a lot happening. We're going to see the Drake setup in 7 seconds at this point. It's should be in favor in terms of vision. Actually, on the LGD side of things, they did have more members down there, and they just found 2 kills. Also, mid-pyro coming into this as well. So, Shanks is going to have to deal with the wave before they can really think about it. Cult does have the teleport advantage as well. So, really, this should be LGD's turn to secure this Drake, at least set up better for it. Good move by Breathe, trying to force the Renekton to back a little bit later, delay his tempo on this objective. And it looks like Peace, without his ultimate, actually has to go back. Unfortunately, LGD don't choose to really contest this. I'm not sure if I like this play or not. I feel like at some point they do have to look for those advantages with this composition. Try to press the early game advantages a little bit harder. But they do decide to just teleport top lane. Take down the tower. However, the tower was already pretty low. This is sitting on like 300 HP from the previous Herald. So I wouldn't really call this a massive tempo lead for LGD. They take the red too. But if I'm W, I'm actually pretty okay with that trade. Got bottom lane tower, was not contested on the Drake whatsoever, despite really not having priority here. And we're just going to see Cult maybe get caught out right here. Missing has been on point with these roams. He's here first. Great burst combo incoming from Jiumeng. And unfortunately for LGD, they get the top lane tower and the red buff, but then they pay it back with the kills. So overstaying in that situation. Missing is still finding more. Continuing to press on. And I don't really have a timer on the Herald just yet. But it does look like W will poke into the blue side, get some vision down, and shift their attention more towards that top lane tower. So not a lot of things going right for LGD at this point. I did feel like they got pressured or psyched out of going into the Drake pit. I feel like that would have been the stronger play rather than going for the top lane tower. And it's going to be a while before LGD can really find another point of attack right here. It's pretty much going to be what we call the Tai Chi phase, or LCK likes to call it the ping pong phase, where you just shuffle minion waves around, scale up, wait for team fights, and this would definitely be in WE's favor.
Clement, are you there?
Hey, you're back.
Oh my god, I do apologize there.
Back.
I do apologize.
So hard.
You need the stamina, and I appreciate you taking me up, taking up the play-by-play in my stead. Do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. My roommate unplugged the internet by mistake because he wanted his Switch charger. So that's how that happened, and I apologize about how that went down. But we're back into the game. Looks like Team WE have got themselves the 2 dragons stacking, and looks like they're going to try and catch out this top lane now. There is a flash available. Nicely done here by the side of Team WE to get themselves a nice, easy, and quick kill. And overall, it feels like as soon as I come back, LGD just have to hit the go button straight away. Garvey dies in the air. Doesn't even get to let the feathers fly. Flora is here a cult, though. 3v2, 3v3. As Peace still available with that flash. They need to be so careful. Missing just being a nuisance in that mid lane. But again, more and more advantages coming over for Team WE.
And this is what we said was going to happen in the Syndra matchup. If you go to a side lane, you're so easy to dive. It's almost impossible to one-shot burst combo. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. Jgl might be going down.
Jiumeng almost going down, just able to keep himself alive. Has to use the heal in that particular exchange, but now Shanks is in a little bit of trouble. He needs to back away, as does beishang, as they're kind of in no man's land. But with everyone resetting on the side of Team WE, it means that LGD be able to pick themselves up a Rift Herald.
Yep, they finally get the pick onto Jiumeng, and this is what they have to continuously do to get back into the game. They really can't play the 1-3-1 that W is going to be able to throw at them. Limpid just doesn't have enough survivability in these side lanes that we just saw beishang just walk in and kill him underneath the tower. Breathe has a perfect angle right here, and how is LGD going to get away with this?
Ooh, they get the kill onto the Rift Herald, but I don't think they're going to be able to collect. They're going to play bodyguard now for Team WE. Make sure that that Rift Herald's eye does die. Nobody going to be able to pick that one up, so the only advantage that LGD get is the 100 gold for killing it.
I just want to say one of the greatest changes was shortening the Herald eye from 40 seconds down to 20. That was really a lifesaver. There was a lot of games in the previous season where we were just watching people just hover around that objective, doing nothing and biding their time. This is a lot better, where people can just leave.
We see now, after clearing at the top side, Shanks going to TP down bot lane, pick up some even more CS. And again, just trying his best to keep being a nuisance, make sure they don't lose tempo or pressure. And it feels like LGD, despite being, you know, about 4,000 gold behind, or even just a little bit under, they are starting to find a little bit of tempo leads in these side lanes, and definitely looking to try and maybe make Team WE work a lot harder for these kind of quick kills they were picking up in the early game.
Definitely has been the case. You know, Renekton can push in this Galio at this point. He's pretty comfortable taking that matchup one-on-one. However, I would say WE still holds on to most of the map control points. Like, Breathe is not someone that can be contested at this point. He can't even be bursted down, really. And W is just going to play the Drake stacking game, you know. LGD has been looking to avoid W on the map. They're pretty much very afraid of their wombo combo. They don't want to put 5 people on the same area. So W right now, they're sitting pretty. They can give away this jungle top side resources and just play for the Dragon Soul, where eventually LGD has to bunch up and they have to come into them.
Yep, you're now putting on a 5-minute timer. So again, similar to game 1, it is at 23 minutes roughly that you'll see Team WE and LGD really go a clash of heads. It is an Aatrox taking that dragon, so it is a very, very slow process, but one that will be done nonetheless. And again, 3 Drakes, Earth, Wind... not Earth, Wind, it's going to be Earth, Ocean, and Fire. Infernal, Mountain, and Ocean. And I think I was just thinking of the band Earth, Wind, and Fire, and it just completely threw me off. But overall, Team WE...
It's more of a Blizzard band. We don't talk about it here.
Shh, don't tell nobody we said anything.
No. Just kidding. That was my personal opinion.
How dare you express your personal opinion as a commentator? That's completely untoward. But now that you've taken the dragon, you see top lane and bot lane outer turrets being taken respectively. And again, it's just kind of a slow burn. Like you said, we're probably not going to see much action unless someone kind of gets caught out until that next dragon at the 4th Drake in about 5 minutes' time.
It's a bit unfortunate, but with this draft, I don't think LGD got enough out of the Graves first pick and the Syndra counter pick to the Galio. That was pretty much what they were banking on, to have some shutdowns and to influence some lanes. Didn't happen.
Jeez.
W are sitting very pretty.
Oh,
combo pieces incoming.
Jiumeng does just jump straight in on top of that with the Shen in tow. Means that he knows that he is so safe. Stand United just keeps him absolutely perfect in that team fight. He's got himself a collector now along with that Kraken Slayer. And again, more and more advantages. And like I said, unless we see a pick like that, but this is the power that beishang brings to this pick. We mentioned it very briefly in draft about how this Aatrox is kind of, you know, generally seen the top side, but in the jungle, beishang makes this look like it's one of the S tier jungle picks.
Yeah, he was one of the few people that was playing it off meta before it really became popular as part of the flex combo. I really like what he did here. He's actually just cutting off Peace from retreating back to his tower, Missing helping out with the pathing as well, and then Jiumeng just going in to finish the job, knowing full well that he has Stand United to back him up, so no real counter pressure on this side. And it's very unfortunate, but LGD, they pretty much have to find a pick before Stand United comes back up again. I think that's pretty much their only window, and they likely have to, even if they find a pick now, it's still not going to come into effect for the Drake fight, so it's very hard to time things together for them.
I was just about to say, like, you may look at that Team WE investing a hell of a lot of ultimates and time and pressure just to get one kill, but it's inconsequential because there's nothing on the map. As I say that, you can see them now grouping into this mid lane, getting down more chip damage. If they can take that mid lane turret before this dragon spawns, that just opens up such a huge area of which LGD can no longer control.
Definitely is the case right here, and W might even try to pull towards Baron as well. That could be a play, a potential counterplay that LGD does, just trade map vision. They can't contest WE head on at this point, being down 5,000 gold. But we have seen a lot of teams like JDG, they love to make this play where they just gather towards Baron and say, hey, you know, we're going to trade vision and make you walk into this vision area. So I like what W are doing here. They're basically starting Baron before the Drake timer comes up, and they're taking away that play essentially from LGD. So just checking all of their boxes, making sure that there's absolutely no comeback potential, and LGD might not even be aware of it.
There was a lot of pings going down. They're aware, but they are far too late to do anything about it. And that is a Baron going over before the Drake is spawned. Flash in from Missing forces the insta-cleanse from Garvey as the fight is now kicked off. The flash in from the Alistar means that the Xayah is dead. Jiumeng has gone down. They do trade it though for the Syndra. Flora trying to take down the Leona. It's a 2-for-1, 2-for-2 trade. It's actually a 3-for-2 or 3-for-1 trade in favor of LGD. And yes, Team WE were in the advantage, but they overforced this fight so damn hard as Breathe. It's going to be a very slow burn to take his HP down, but he will eventually fall. Will he be able to take down Flora though? Yes, he will. Will take a kill off just before he dies. They will take the turret, but LGD finding a little bit of life in them there, losing or basically winning a 4v5 and kind of coming out with 4 kills.
I just want to say that Breathe should be thankful that he's not playing with Uzi, because Uzi fans would have chewed him alive right there. We have to look at the critical play right there, and it was a Stand United going down on the Alistar instead of the Xayah. Not the Alistar, sorry. Going down onto the front line rather than the back line. Xayah gets sniped down immediately, and that really turned the fight. The damage is gone. Galio is stuck beneath turret, actually takes some damage right there, and they're able to turn with that one. So that's going to be a huge morale booster for LGD. They know that they can win these fights even under massive deficits.
not even just a, kind of a morale booster. There's a lot of gold, just in general. The resources are back in their favor, but the dragon has been started up. It's ended by 2,000 HP. Will it go down? It will, in favor of Team WE. They get themselves an Infernal Soul, and there's the shotgun straight into the back of the Syndra, as now LGD run for their lives. They're just a little too late on the play. Flora will fall to Missing, and Team WE said, all right, you had your moment in the sun. It's now time for us to go back to winning this game. They've got themselves still one Baron buff and still plenty of people available with help bars, and they're going to barrel into this mid lane tier 2.
We've heard coaches talk about this, but the funny thing in League of Legends is a lot of times you can lose team fights and win tempo.
Yep.
Because you reset first. Death is a reset, so
the quickest
W
reset.
Capitalizing on that one.
WE capitalizing, get themselves the Infernal Soul. They also crack open that mid lane inhibitor. Now they're going to move towards that top side. It is a bit unfortunate that beishang is the only one left with a Baron buff, so he's going to be the one responsible for buffing up these minions. Only has 30 seconds or so left in it, so that responsibility will fall away from him very, very soon. Just going to use it to reset as quick as possible. And again, LGD, they're kind of going to struggle. Oh, Peace. Almost, buddy, almost. Absolute balls of steel there, though, from Jiumeng, realizing he didn't have to cancel his bank, but
yeah,
they're just too late on the play.
I just didn't like the way that LGD tried to approach this. They try to do a flank right here, and it's so easy for W to actually just swing the team fight in one direction. So Alistar is not there for the counter engage. He's not there to stop the Xayah from just going in onto your Syndra, onto your backline. And I don't think the idea there was to do this sort of pincer movement from LGD. I would have actually just much preferred them all walk into the same side. It would still have been a long shot, but probably would have gave them better chances in that one.
As much as it was a fantastic team fight to see LGD gain, they don't really gain much out of it, because at the end of the day, they had lost the Baron already. The Infernal Soul is now in favor of Team WE, and their mid lane inhibitor is gone down. And it's just hard, honestly. It's hard to see how they can kind of come back into this. You're nearly 100 CS down on your AD carries. The gold is 6,006 and a bit. And there's not really much defense here against the kind of onslaught that will be coming in. The Runans as well from Jiumeng going to be shredding through so many of these health bars. And you don't really have that tanky of a team anyway to begin with. You have yet to finish an item on your Alistar. It's just there's no resources here for LGD.
What I want to see is how much HP beishang is going to be able to get back. He has a Death Stance and the Gore Drinkle already. We saw in the previous series where Zoom was getting that 1500 HP with the single Gore Drinker proc. I think we're going to see beishang go for the tower dive and just show us some really, really ridiculous stuff, because he can pop the World Ender, 100% bonus. If he gets a takedown, he actually gets healing back from the Death Stance as well. It's going to be nigh impossible to kill him.
Well, it's not nigh impossible for Breathe to kill off Colt, as they're just now pushing 2-1-2, or even 3-1-1, as they push towards that top side. Missing just hovering between the mid and top side, making sure that there's no shenanigans being put on toward, no numbers deficit on either side. But Breed, he's just able to keep Colt here, and honestly, that's fine, because Colt can't do anything to Jiumeng if he's not around Jiumeng.
That definitely is the case right here. I think W are just playing this a little bit looser. They already have the top lane down already, so they're just stripping all the outer towers. They're not really putting too much weight on the Stand United at this point, since they're just so damn strong on the map. They don't really need it. Just gonna get maximum gold value out of here, and it looks like they are gonna set up for the Baron and just finish the job there.
Yep, set up for the Baron. You get that, push in, get some more waves going. You do have, of course, that inhibitor in the mid lane. It should be coming back up, though, in about a minute and a half's time. And again, more and more pressure for Team WE. LGD, they have shown us little glimpses, little sparks of life in this roster. Of course, you have to take into consideration Garvey stepping into the AD carry role is very much a top laner and not in his kind of preferred setup. But overall, LGD, they know what they can do. They just have to make it happen, and this is exactly how you make it happen. But it doesn't matter if you're all the way in the enemy base near the Baron. If you get caught out in the mid lane now, it's a 4v5, and they just jump in with Jiumeng, who has to go into golden stasis. I don't even think it matters if he dies, because it does too much damage from the Aatrox, too much healing as well. And Peace not being there means they get completely caught out. Does knock back Breed though, and he actually might fall just because of the turret aggro. So overall, it ends up being a 2-for-2 trade. But Team WE, they've got the pressure in the mid lane. They can turn straight to Baron.
Hey, if we're LGD, we say we take those, man.
Yep.
That's not terrible of a result right there. It was a bit unfortunate. I don't think Peace was spotted at all, so that was just W saying that, hey, we're so far ahead, we're just going to go straight in. Unfortunately, Peace doesn't get any shenanigans to actually work out here. What I really want to see is how Jiumeng actually falls down. He does expend his flash, so that could be a precursor to heroic comebacks coming in from LGD. Does use everything right there, actually, both summoners down. Limpid, even though his scoreline is 0-4, I believe, does still have the damage to go in and finish off Jiumeng if he plays over aggressive like that one. And honestly, this is okay from LGD. They hold off.
Yeah.
The Baron is not taken away. They're trading kills back and forth, and they got summoners from Jiumeng. So really not the worst of situations.
Feel like Jiumeng and Breed just a little bit overzealous going into that play there, jumping in a bit too far and getting punished, rightfully so, by LGD on their Nexus base turrets. But now the Elder Drake has spawned. Peace is over by the Baron buff, and honestly, I feel like you're just going to have to give this one up, LGD. Kevin not in position. You decided to try and go for the Baron. That was the incorrect choice, and now that the Elder Drake is down, Team WE can turn either for the team fight or they can turn for the side of the Baron. But looks like with the Solar Flare down, there's no one really else there. And they use the Stand United. Team WE definitely playing fast and loose right now.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Like, I still don't think LGD is able to contest them on Baron, so they're just going to get double major objective and close the game out from there. If I'm LGD, the most I'm going to chance here is maybe collateral damage steal, but that's about it. I'm not walking anywhere near.
And you can see already Missing just straight up wise to that, as well as Shanks. And they're just saying, right, we know exactly where you are. You're not getting behind the pit. We're not even going to let you give it up for chance. This is in no way whatsoever even a 99 to 1% chance that you take this one here. And I really do like that play, but with the time that's going in now, we're coming up to 31 minutes. The Elder Drake has been taken by the side of Team WE along with that Baron buff. So they have a minute and a half of both buffs available. Death Cap almost ready to be finished here, though, by Limpid, as he just finishes that one off. So a hell of a lot of burst damage available to him if he's able to get it onto the right target. And that's the kind of big if as such coming into this next team fight. But you feel with all the resources, all the buffs, Team WE should be able to pick themselves whatever fight they see fit.
You know, I think Limpid is going to be looking at Jiumeng. No summoners, is the AD carry on the team. However, I think Jiumeng is actually but a ruse, you know. On this team, the main damage dealer is beishang, and he's proven it throughout this entire tournament. Jiumeng has not had a pretty KDA. His job is pretty much to rush in there and just take abilities to the face. He's very used to that, and I kind of like this adaptation from WE. They're saying that, you know what, we really have two AD carries. Jiumeng is the one everyone has been focusing on last year. He did 35% of the team's damage last year in 2020 summer. However, the way he's playing, I think it actually suits his style. It suits his team, where you're looking at a team that's not the W of 2020. They actually have multiple carries right now, and they can afford to play this way.
Yep, inhibitors falling in mid and bot. Don't even need to go for that top side turret just yet. Just escorting the minions into the mid lane and bot side to try and get some more damage down. They can wait 10 more seconds. That will be the Elder Drake buff down, so no real gain apart from denial there from the side of LGD. And again, more and more pressure for Team WE, just waiting for this Baron Duff top wave to come in. Garvey is around here, trying to see if he can just get some clip feathers onto some of those minions, but the fight will go in. The flash in, the knock up. They are going to use Jiumeng to get himself backed away completely. There is going to be beishang jumping straight on top of the Syndra. Garvey gets some nice feathers pulled, but everybody will be falling down. There's only so much that Colt can do, and that is going to be game 2 and match point to the side of Team WE.
Awesome, clean finish coming in from WE. I love the way they played the final team fight. Jiumeng uses the killer instinct backward, and the Stand United is on point to cancel all of the damage.
Team WE, it was kind of just a slow burner. There was a couple of small little hiccups, as you can see there, and the little bumps on the road. It didn't matter at the end of the day because Team WE they just have honestly a much more kind of better grasp of what their team identity is.
Yeah, they played very, I think, stock standard in the meta. We've talked about this a lot of times, but it is about combo pieces. This is a knife fight meta. Whoever gets the first blow in usually just wins the fight. And we really haven't been seeing the Graves plus Syndra counter to the Galio mid lane work out whatsoever. I think you...